Behold me, then, as if alone upon the earth, having neither brother, relative, friend, or society, but my own thoughts, the most social and affectionate of men, proscribed, as it were, by unanimous consent. They have sought, in the refinement of their hatred, what would be the most cruel torment to my susceptible soul, and have rent asunder every bond which attached me to them. I should have loved mankind in spite of themselves, and it was only by throwing off humanity that they could avoid my affection. At length, then, behold them strangers, unknown, as indifferent to me as they desired to be. But thus detached from mankind and everything that relates to them, what am I? This remains to be sought. Unhappily, the search must be preceded by casting a glance on my own situation, since I must necessarily pass through this examination in order to judge between them and myself. It is now above 15 years since I have been in this strange situation, which yet appears to me like a dream, ever imagining that, disturbed by indigestion, I sleep uneasily, but shall soon awake, freed from my troubles, and surrounded by my friends. Yes, surely I have glided unconsciously from nightly watchings into profound sleep, or rather from life to death, dragged, I know not how, from the natural order of things. I find myself precipitated into an incomprehensible chaos, where I can distinguish nothing, and the more I consider my present situation, the less I seem to comprehend it. How could I possibly foresee the destiny that awaited me? Or how can I even now, though betrayed into this state, form any adequate idea of it? Could I, if in my right senses, suppose that one day the man I was and yet remain should be taken without any kind of doubt for a monster, a poisoner, an assassin, the horror of the human race, the sport of the rabble, my only salutation to be spit upon, and that a whole generation would unanimously amuse themselves in burying me alive? When this strange revolution first happened, taken by unawares, I was overwhelmed with astonishment. My agitation, my indignation, plunged me into a delirium, which 10 years have scarcely been able to calm. During this interval, falling from error to error, from fault to fault, and folly to folly, I have, by my imprudence, furnished the contrivers of my fate with instruments, which they have artfully employed to fix it without resource. For a long time my struggles were as violent as unavailing, employed without art, dissimulation, or prudence. Warm, open, impatient, and frank in my disposition, every endeavour to disengage myself did but entangle me the more, and give my enemies incessant advantages, which they took care to improve. At length, finding all my efforts useless, all my uneasiness vain, I adopted the only means that remained, which was to submit without murmuring to my fate, and found an indemnification for my misfortunes by the tranquillity which this resignation procured me, and which could not be allied with the continual struggle of a painful and ineffectual resistance. Another circumstance has contributed to this tranquillity. In the eagerness of their malice, my persecutors had omitted one thing highly necessary to the accomplishment of their designs. This was, to portion out the effects of their malice in such a manner that they might maintain and renew my sorrows by successive oppressions. Had they possessed the skill to have left me some beam of hope, they might have held me by that, and continued me their plaything by false lures, till at length they had totally overwhelmed me by successive torments, arising from deceived expectation. But they exhausted all their inventions at once, and in stripping me of every hope, deprived themselves of every resource.